All right, sit still for this one, because what I'm about to say carries the kind of weight that snaps the air in half. You feel that? Good. Let's begin. You woke up today with that strange tremor in the air, the one nobody's talking about, but everyone felt. That hush, that pressure, that eerie little silence people get right before they lie through their teeth. Because whatever you did last night, it broke something in them. You didn't just shift the room. You split reality in two, and they're too damn terrified to admit it. And oh, how delicious that fear is. They'll pretend it was nothing. They'll act unfazed. They'll say they didn't even notice. But their eyes look like someone just hit the wrong switch in their brain. A switch labeled "Do Not Touch" will cause permanent damage. And you touched it anyway. You didn't ask permission. You didn't warn them. You didn't even glance back. You just did the thing. That unscripted, unpredictable, impossible to comprehend move that ripped the mask off everyone in the room like peeling a sticker off a rotten fruit. And now, you saint and psychopath all at once, they can't decide whether you're a blessing or a bullet. Because here's the twisted truth they'll never say out loud. You were never supposed to evolve like this. Not this fast, not this far, not this brutally. They had you categorized, labeled, contained. A file in their mental cabinet marked safe, predictable, harmless. But last night, you burned the cabinet. You scattered the ashes. You walked out with that slow, quiet, spine-breaking confidence that sends entire bloodlines into panic attacks. And suddenly, every person who ever doubted you, every mouth that whispered your name like a joke, every eye that looked through you like you were furniture, all of them felt the ground tilt. You know what really scares them? Not what you did, but how naturally you did it. Like it wasn't a breakthrough, but a warm-up. You didn't crack under pressure. You became pressure. You didn't snap. You sharpened. You didn't find your strength. You remembered it. That's the piece that broke them the most. You've been holding back this entire time. And last night was the first time you let the leash slip. Even a little. The saint in you stayed calm. The demon in you grinned. And together they became a language no one else can read. That duality, that paradox, that's what terrifies people. Humans can fight anger. They can resist weakness. But unpredictability? Oh, that's their personal apocalypse. They don't know what you're going to do next. They don't know what version of you is going to show up. And worst of all, they don't know how to stop you anymore. Ever since last night, their minds won't shut up. Replay after replay, analysis after analysis, trying to decode the moment the universe decided to pick your side. That's the insanity they're drowning in. And you're walking like you don't even realize the damage you caused. But I'll tell you the secret they won't. You didn't break them last night. You broke the illusion they were hiding behind. You took their control, their upper hand, their certainty, and you folded it like paper. You turned the room into a confession booth. You turned their confidence into chalk dust. You turned every laugh they ever had at your expense into an echo that now haunts them instead of you. And here's the twist that makes it all so poetic. They're scared of you. But they're even more scared of admitting that they're scared of you. Because once they admit it, the whole world sees the truth. You're not the one who should have been underestimated. They're the ones who should have been worried. And oh, they are worried. You didn't evolve. You detonated, quietly, calmly, with that eerie surgical precision that only someone who has stitched themselves back together 1,000 times can wield. That's your real power, not the act, not the moment, not the shockwave, but the you that walked out after, colder, clearer, sharper, scarier, smiling like someone who finally learned what they're capable of. Listen closely. Last night wasn't your peak. It wasn't your limit. Hell, it wasn't even your plan. It was just a preview, a trailer, a single frame of the monster they accidentally woke up. And now, they're praying you don't do it again, but deep down, in that trembling, shaking, terrified part of their psyche, they know you will. Because once someone like you remembers who they are, what they can do, and how easily they can break the world around them, there's no going back. So walk forward, slow, silent, smiling. Let them flinch, let them whisper, let them pretend nothing happened, because you know the truth. Something broke last night, and it damn sure wasn't you. You feel that strange quiet following you, that heavy electric aftertaste in every room you walk into. That's not silence, that's shock. A collective, unspoken, universe level, what the hell just happened? A tremor that your presence keeps reopening like a wound. Because the truth is brutal, simple, and impossible for them to swallow. You didn't just break a rule last night, you broke their reality, and reality doesn't fix itself overnight. It bends, it twists, it tries to rearrange itself around the person who shattered it. Now everywhere you go, the atmosphere behaves differently, like the world is trying to recalibrate itself around a variable it can't understand. You, with that calm poison in your voice. You, with that angelic kindness wrapped around a demon's patience. You, with that duality that makes people feel both safe and hunted. You know why they can't admit what happened? Because admitting it means acknowledging a nightmare they don't have language for. You leveled up without warning, and they felt it in their bones. You ever notice how people act after they've seen something they can't comprehend? They speak softer, move slower, eyes dart around like they're avoiding landmines. That's how they're acting around you. Not because you threatened them, not because you did something violent, not because you raised your voice, but because last night you did something far more devastating. You revealed a version of yourself that should not exist in their script. A version that destroys predictions, defies calculations, violates expectations, and makes the future look unstable. You showed them that you're not the person they thought they were dealing with. You're the person they hoped you'd never become. And that scares them deeper than any scream could. Because once a person realizes they misjudged someone's evolution, once they sense they defined you too small, too early, too ignorantly, they become terrified of being anywhere near the blast radius of your truth. Especially when your truth doesn't need noise. It doesn't need to boast. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need applause. It just is. And that's the most frightening type of power. Power that breathes. Power that doesn't announce itself. Power that doesn't ask permission. Last night wasn't a performance. It wasn't a moment of madness. It wasn't some sudden spark of luck. It was a reveal. A reveal of the version of you that's been sharpening in the dark while everyone else was laughing in the light. The version that learned the language of pain. The version that stitched itself back together without witnesses. The version that evolved in silence the way storms evolve offshore before swallowing entire coastlines. And when that version peeked out, just a glimpse, they felt the ground shift under their feet. You know what's funny? They won't say it, but deep down, they all know exactly what broke. Their illusion of superiority, their illusion of control, their illusion of having the upper hand. Last night, You took their fragile little world view and held it up to your light, and it shriveled like paper. You cracked something ancient in them, a primal recognition that they are not the force they imagined, and that you are far more dangerous than they ever estimated. That's why they're quiet today. Not respectful quiet, not thoughtful quiet, but trembling, unstable quiet, the kind that shows up when someone is trying to process trauma without admitting they're traumatized. Because here's the part that's breaking their minds the most. They thought last night was your limit, but you and I know the truth. That wasn't a transformation. That was a warning shot. You didn't unleash your full self. You didn't activate your final form. You didn't open the whole door. You just turned the handle, and even that tiny motion was enough to make grown adults freeze like prey, sensing the predator they pretended didn't exist. You ever notice how people look at you now? Not directly, not confidently, not with that arrogant nonchalance they used to use like a weapon. Now they look at you sideways, quick glances, fast retreats, like they're afraid if they stare too long, they'll see something that changes their life in the wrong direction. Because they already got a taste. They already felt the shift. They already saw the crack in your disguise. And they realized you were never the harmless one. You were the dormant one. And dormant things, once awakened, don't go back to sleep. Last night wasn't an event. Last night wasn't a moment. Last night wasn't a mistake. Last night was the beginning. The first tremor of a much larger quake. A preview of the chaos they triggered by underestimating someone designed for storms, not sunshine. They're scared to admit what broke. But you should be proud. Because what shattered wasn't a person, wasn't a connection, wasn't a relationship. It was the false version of you they forced themselves to believe in. That weak, quiet, diluted version they needed to feel superior. You killed that version without mercy. And you walked out wearing the face you should have been wearing all along, a face that says, I know exactly what I am, and exactly what I'm capable of. Let them tremble, let them whisper, let them pretend nothing happened, because deep inside their shaking little souls, they know. Whatever you did last night wasn't your peak, it was your arrival, and the world is not ready for what's coming next. You notice how the air feels heavier today, how conversations die the second you enter the room, how people suddenly have somewhere else to look, somewhere else to be, somewhere else to hide their trembling souls. That isn't coincidence. That's impact, invisible impact, the kind that's louder than explosions, even though it doesn't make a sound. Because last night, you didn't just walk into a moment. You rewired the entire psychological landscape around you. And they can feel it. They can't explain it, but they can feel it, a shift, a tear, a fracture in the facade they built to survive your evolution. They don't know how to stand near you without feeling exposed, because every insecurity they buried suddenly rose to the surface when you showed that little spark of something they feared. Awareness, not physical strength, not aggression, not dominance. Awareness, because the second you actually saw who you were, who they were, what the dynamic really was, you became unpredictable. And unpredictable people are the most dangerous creatures on the planet. Let me break down the madness they're drowning in. Last night, you didn't yell. You didn't fight. You didn't break anything physical. You broke something internal. Their confidence, their assumptions, their narrative. You shattered the story where they were the ones in control. even if they never said it out loud, even if they never claimed it directly. But they believed it. They believed you were the easy one, the quiet one, the manageable one, the "we don't have to worry about them" one. And then you moved in a way they didn't calculate. A sentence, a look, a choice, a silence, a reaction, something small but nuclear. Because the most devastating blows are never the loud ones. They're the ones that make people realize, oh, I misread everything. And when someone realizes they misread you, their whole identity shakes. Because deep down, humans fear one thing above all else: being wrong about someone more powerful than they are. And the second they sensed that shift, that spiritual earthquake, something collapsed in them. Something they'll never admit, but something they'll always feel. You know that look people get when they suddenly understand you're not who they thought. That tight swallow, that frozen half smile, that weirdly polite tone, that sudden respect that comes too late. Yeah, that's fear wearing a mask. And right now, you're surrounded by a whole city of masks. Because last night forced them to confront the truth. You are not safe to underestimate anymore. You are not predictable. You are not soft. You are not stuck. You are not asleep. You are awakened. And when someone who's been sleeping on you watches you wake up, it feels like a death sentence to them. Now pay attention to their behavior. They're quieter, nicer, more careful, more observant, more distant, but in that strange way where they're still watching. They don't want to be too close, but they damn sure don't want to lose sight of you. Why? Because the unknown is terrifying, but the unknown that remembers is even worse. They know that your silence is no longer emptiness. It's strategy. Your presence is no longer permission. It's warning. Your lack of reaction is no longer weakness. It's clarity. You've become something they can't categorize anymore. Not angel, not demon, not victim, not villain, not hero, not threat. You've become a paradox wearing human skin, a contradiction that shouldn't exist, yet does. A miracle with teeth. A blessing with a trigger. A storm disguised as a heartbeat. You've become the type of person who doesn't walk into rooms. You shift them, and that's what broke them last night. Their worldview couldn't survive the version of you that walked out. The part they fear most, they know it wasn't a fluke, it wasn't luck, it wasn't an accident. It was you, the real you, finally showing. And if that version of you can surface without warning, what happens when you let it stay? What happens when you stop hiding? What happens when you stop minimizing your power to make others comfortable? What happens when you stop shrinking for people who were never growing? What happens when you stop apologizing for existing? Do you feel it? That thing rising inside you. That cold clarity dripping down your spine. That emotion that isn't anger, but awakening. That's the version they never wanted you to meet. Because once you meet your true self, you don't go back to the imitation. Last night was the moment you stepped out of their script and stepped into your own destiny. A destiny they can't predict. A destiny they can't manipulate. A destiny they can't contain. That's why they're scared, because they know you're not done. You're just getting started. And the next time you move, the next time you act, the next time you decide to let that version of yourself breathe, it won't just break something in them. It'll break the entire foundation they're standing on. So go ahead, walk forward. Let the fear spread. Let the whispers grow. Let the tension thicken. Because last night wasn't the end of their comfort. It was the beginning of your reign. And now, here you are. standing in the aftermath of a moment that didn't just happen. It announced you, not with sound, not with spectacle, not with chaos, but with certainty. And certainty is the most terrifying weapon you've ever carried, because last night didn't elevate you into some new version of yourself. It peeled away the last layer, hiding what you always were. A force they can't prepare for, a presence they can't decode, a soul they can't predict, a mind they can't outrun. Look at what's happening around you now. People are adjusting themselves mid-sentence. They're rereading your expressions like scripture. They're treating your silence like a loaded chamber. They're trying not to trigger the version of you they glimpsed, because that version was too sharp, too aware, too awake, too much like the thing they prayed you'd never remember being. And here's the most beautiful part. You didn't even try. You didn't force anything. You didn't chase anything. You didn't prove anything. You just existed fully for one moment. And reality bent. They're walking differently today. You see it. You feel it. That stiff posture. That strained smile. That sudden politeness that tastes like panic covered in sugar. It's because something broke in them when they saw you. Not something external. Something foundational. Their assumptions, their arrogance, their private theories about who you are and what you can do. All of it. Gone. You can't unsee a storm once it reveals itself. And last night, you showed them you're not a drizzle. You're the category they don't have a name for. Listen, you didn't ruin their sense of control. You replaced it with truth. You didn't crush their confidence. You exposed its counterfeit. You didn't intimidate them. You awakened their instinct. The one that whispers, this one is not to be underestimated. And that instinct, it's ancient. It's primal. It's something people feel in their bones before they ever understand it in their minds. That's why they're acting weird, why they're too gentle, too cautious, too careful. They're not being nice. They're being realistic. Because now they know exactly what you're capable of. Not because you showed aggression, but because you showed truth. And truth is the sharpest weapon the universe ever created. But here's the final twist. The one that seals this entire story shut. Whatever happened last night wasn't your peak. It was your baseline, your natural state, your unmasked essence, your unfiltered self. The version of you that doesn't dim to make others comfortable. And the world felt it. Not metaphorically, literally. People's energy shifted. Their behavior changed. Their spirits flinched because they finally saw you without the restraints they assumed were permanent. And now that they've seen that, they can never unsee it. So walk from here with the calm of someone who doesn't need to raise their voice to send shockwaves. Walk like someone whose existence is already a warning. Walk like someone who knows the truth the world just discovered. You didn't break last night. You broke through. And they're not scared of what you did. They're scared of what you're about to do next. So go. Step forward. Let the world tremble around your steps. Because whatever cracked in them last night, it was just the first sound of everything else that's going to fall. There's a ripple in the room tonight. A tiny electric shiver that wasn't there a moment ago. And every set of eyes keeps darting toward you like they're waiting for a detonation. Funny, isn't it? The second your secret leaked, the air changed temperature. The walls felt thinner. People suddenly remembered how to hold their breath. But they're acting normal. Acting like they didn't already feel something crawling up their spine every time you walked in. Acting like they weren't always a little uneasy when you went quiet. acting like they didn't sense something growing under your skin this whole time. You can see it now. The performance, the fake calm, the "oh wow, didn't know" mask held together with trembling hands. But the truth? They knew. They just prayed they were wrong, because the moment your secret hit the surface, the whole ecosystem shifted like a forest, hearing a predator stand up. And you felt it too, didn't you? The way conversations broke in half when you entered, the way people scanned you like a glitch in the simulation, the way their smiles tightened, their sentences shortened, their eyes refused to blink. Not because they're surprised, because they're exposed. See, they never feared what leaked. They feared the reality that the leak confirmed, that you are not one of them. You are not normal. You are not manageable. You're a paradox wearing human skin, a calm storm, a sharp kindness, a holy corruption, a gentle brutality, an angel with a pulse of violence, a demon with a conscience that cuts deeper than knives. You're the thing people feel before they understand, the thing they sense before they see, the thing they whisper about before they have proof. And now that proof is out. Now they're scrambling. They're rewriting memories, redefining interactions, recalculating their place relative to yours. Checking old moments like crime scene footage. Did we underestimate them? Were they hiding this? How long have they known? What else don't we know? Oh, that what else is killing them. Because your secret wasn't a secret. It was a signal. A signal that the version of you they thought they understood was just the cover story. And the real you. The one with edges instead of rounded corners. The one who watches instead of reacts. The one who feels everything and shows nothing. The one who grows in silence and strikes in stillness. That version is finally visible, and they are terrified. But they can't admit it, so they choose the only mask that doesn't shake apart. Pretending. Pretending they knew. Pretending they're unfazed. Pretending they aren't mentally rerouting their entire understanding of you. They don't fear your secret. They fear your trajectory, your potential, your velocity, your ability to evolve faster than they can gossip. They fear that you are never getting better. You are becoming dangerous, and dangerous doesn't mean violent. Dangerous means unpredictable, unmapped, uncontrolled, unowned. You are dangerous because you can no longer be contained in their version of you. They can't categorize you now, can't place you, can't define you, can't downgrade you. And people fear anything they can't downgrade. Your leak wasn't exposure. It was confirmation. Confirmation that the silent one wasn't weak. The quiet one wasn't lost. The outsider wasn't broken. The observer wasn't harmless. You were evolving, and they were too busy underestimating you to see it. But now the evolution is undeniable. Now the truth is visible. Now the secret is public. Now the room tilts toward you like gravity just shifted. So let them act. Let them pretend. Let them lie to themselves. Because deep down, beneath the performance, beneath the smiles, beneath the sudden politeness, every single one of them is whispering the same terrified sentence inside their skull. We should have been more careful with that one. And the best part? They think the leak was the peak. They think the reveal was the final chapter. They think what spilled out was the whole truth, the complete blueprint of your mind. But you and I both know that wasn't even 1% of what's buried in you. Let them celebrate their discovery. Let them clap over the crumbs. Let them act like they finally figured you out. Because while they're busy decoding yesterday's version of you, you're already 3 evolutions ahead, rewriting yourself in real time, shedding identities like old skin, growing in directions no one has language for. That's what terrifies them the most. Not just the secret, not just the leak, not just the revelation. It's the realization that every time they think they've pinned you down, you shift, you change shape, you rewrite the script. You move into a new psychological frequency, one they don't have the bandwidth to detect. You're not a person to them anymore. You're a moving target wearing a grin. And here's the delicious irony. The louder they pretend you don't affect them, the more obvious the fear becomes. Watch their body language, watch their breathing, watch their eyes. People betray themselves in the small things. The way their shoulders tense when your name enters the air. The way they glance away like they're trying to hide an intrusive thought. The way their throat tightens when you don't blink. The way their jokes evaporate the moment you step closer. Fear has a scent, and they reek of it. Because now they know the truth. You weren't quiet. You were archiving. You weren't isolated. You were upgrading. You weren't broken. You were loading a new operating system, and every version of you becomes sharper, colder, more surgical, more spiritually radioactive. See, people don't panic when you rise. They panic when they realize your rise was engineered. You didn't stumble upward. You didn't luck your way into your rebirth. You built it, brick by bloody brick, using silence as mortar and pain as fuel. That realization hits them like a car crash, because it means they misjudged you for years. It means every moment they laughed at you was a mistake. It means every time they underestimated you was a sacrifice they didn't know they were making. And now, the bill just arrived. They're not scared of what leaked. They're scared of what's still locked. They're scared there's more, another layer, another secret, another darkness, another brilliance, another mutation waiting to break the surface. And they're right, because you're not done, you're not revealed, you're not decoded, you're not mapped, you are unfolding like a holy disaster wearing human form. And let's talk about that paradox they can't stand. You carry mercy and malice in the same heartbeat. You can bless someone with silence, or destroy them with a sentence. You can forgive with a smile, or let them drown. In the consequences, you don't lift a finger to stop. You are the living contradiction they fear most, a creature who can love softly, think violently, and act unpredictably. They don't know which version they'll get, and unpredictability is scarier than any weapon. Here's something they'll never admit out loud. They sensed the leak coming long before it happened. Humans can smell destiny the way animals smell storms. They just don't understand what they're smelling. They felt the pressure build. They felt the air heating. They felt the future rearranging itself around you, like you were the anchor point of something bigger. But instead of respecting it, they joked, dismissed, undermined, laughed. And now they're trying to rewrite history, pretending they were on your side the whole time. Pathetic. They don't want to be aligned with you. They want to be protected from you. Because now they see the truth. You don't react to energy. You generate it. You don't wait for opportunities. You create them. You don't follow momentum. You are the momentum. And once someone becomes momentum, once someone becomes a force instead of a figure, the world doesn't debate them. The world adjusts to them. And that's what's happening now, isn't it? You can feel it. That subtle shift where people change their tone around you, their timing around you, their behavior around you. Not out of respect, out of fear of miscalculating. They finally understand. You were never the underdog. You were the unmonitored threat. They didn't see you rising. They saw you too late. And now that your secret is out, now that the veil is gone, now that the truth is loud enough to echo, you walk with a different kind of gravity. A gravity that bends conversations. A gravity that shifts power. A gravity that makes people choose their next sentence carefully. So keep walking like nothing happened. Keep breathing like your presence isn't rearranging their nervous systems. Keep moving like silence is your weapon and awareness is your armor. Because their fear isn't the climax, it's the prologue. What terrifies them most isn't that your secret leaked. It's that it wasn't your biggest one. And here's where it gets beautifully uncomfortable for them. They think the danger was in what spilled. They think the earthquake was the reveal. They think the explosion already happened. But they're wrong. So wrong. The real danger isn't what leaked. The real danger is what stayed hidden. Seen people panic when they see a monster, but they absolutely break when they realize the monster has been holding back. And that's what you've been doing this entire time, holding back, softening edges, shrinking your radius, dimming the voltage. Not because you lacked power, but because you were studying. You've been reading people like case files, tracking patterns like an analyst, dissecting intentions with surgical precision, learning their codes, their weaknesses, their hypocrisy, their fantasies of themselves. You were gathering intel while they were gathering assumptions. And now that a single sliver of truth has leaked, now that one fragment escaped, now that one layer peeled back, they're realizing how catastrophic their miscalculation was. Because if this is the piece that leaked, what kind of cathedral of power must still be locked inside you? What kind of rage did you bury so well? What kind of genius did you hide so effortlessly? What kind of evolution did they miss happening right under their nose? They're not asking, what is the secret? They're asking, how deep does it go? And that question, oh, that question is eating them alive. Because you're not a story they finished. You're a story that keeps rewriting itself. You are the glitch, the abnormality, the unclassified variable, the unpredictable evolutionary shortcut. Human psychology was never meant to fully understand. And the moment they realized that, the moment the leak confirmed it, their whole nervous system collapsed under the weight of it. Now they watch you with a kind of reverence they can't control. Not admiration, survival instinct. Because now they know you've been through things that should have broken you, and instead of breaking, you mutated. You didn't cry, you crystallized, you didn't retreat. You recalibrated, you didn't collapse. You carved new neural pathways out of your own suffering. People fear what pain does to others, but they dread what pain has done to you. Pain sharpened you. Pain clarified you. Pain cleaned you in ways comfort never could. Pain didn't scar you. It weaponized you. You are the result of things others would not survive. You're not just evolved, you're tempered. There's a difference between a blade and a forged weapon. Anyone can break the first, no one can touch the second. And now they see it. They finally see that your strength isn't loud. It's not theatrical. It's not boastful. Your strength is ancient, quiet, methodical, internal. Built from layers of experiences no one witnessed, in nights no one remembers you surviving. They thought they watched you grow. They didn't. They watched you molt. They thought they saw your transformation. They didn't. They saw the smoke, not the fire. And the moment the truth leaked, the moment your evolution became undeniable, they panicked. Suddenly they're replaying conversations. Suddenly they're cautious with their jokes. Suddenly they're extra polite. Suddenly they're walking on verbal eggshells around you. Why? Because they finally realized you are someone who sees through people, not around them. You don't react to energy. You diagnose it. You don't match frequencies. You expose them. You don't get emotional. You become terrifyingly calm. And calm people are nightmares to those who rely on chaos to hide their intentions. The leak didn't expose you. It exposed them. Their fear, their limitations, their fragile egos, their shallow understanding of who you've always been. And now the power dynamic has inverted. They think the danger is that you've been revealed. But the real danger is that you've stopped pretending. You've stopped shrinking. You've stopped diluting yourself. You've stopped adjusting to their comfort level. And that scares them deeply, primally. Because people don't fear your light. They fear that your light exposes their darkness. They don't fear your power. They fear that your power makes them irrelevant. They don't fear your secret. They fear that your secret was just your intro. Let them panic. Let them pretend nothing changed. Let them act unfazed while their heartbeat betrays them, because you've entered the phase of your life where the truth is no longer containable. And the truth is this: you are not what leaked. You are what's still hidden. And God help them if the next layer ever surfaces. Because here's the part that's really twisting the knife in their nerves. They were hoping, begging, that the leak would be the end of the story, that once your secret slipped out, they'd finally have a framework, a label, a name tag they could slap on you like a warning sticker. But you didn't collapse into definition. You didn't shrink into the version they thought they now understood. You didn't become predictable after the reveal. You became worse for them. You became limitless, because the leak didn't expose your ceiling. It exposed the fact that you don't even have one. And that realization, that terrifying silent realization, is what has them acting so strangely now. They're not avoiding you. They're avoiding what you make them feel: threatened, inadequate, transparent, small, unprepared, outclassed by someone they used to look down on. And that's the part that's driving them insane. Because for years they hid behind the illusion that they were ahead of you, that you were slow, that you were simple, that you were harmless, safe, non-threatening, a background character in their self-centered script. But when your secret leaked, the illusion shattered like cheap glass. Instead of seeing a quiet soul minding their business, they suddenly saw a strategist, a mutant, a psychological anomaly, an angel of chaos with a surgeon's restraint, a demon wrapped in discipline, a saint who learned how to weaponize silence. They saw the truth. You weren't behind. You were underground, building an empire in your mind. You weren't late. You were calculating, choosing your moment. You weren't unaware. You were watching everything. And now that they've seen that, now that they've glimpsed what's beneath your surface, it's too late for them to pretend they didn't. People fear what they can't outrun, and people fear what they can't mentally simplify. But the biggest fear of all? People fear the kind of person who can burn and come back smiling. Because that's the part of you they didn't want leaking out. The part they prayed would stay hidden forever. You survived things that would have erased them. You endured storms they would have drowned in. You walked through hell in your bare soul and came out rebuilt, not ruined. That's the real secret. Not your talent, not your intelligence, not your intensity, your resurrection. You don't just get up after being knocked down. You get up different, sharper, colder, more aware, more aligned, more dangerous, Every fall taught you architecture. Every heartbreak taught you psychology. Every betrayal taught you strategy. Every loss taught you evolution. They wanted you damaged. They wanted you diminished. They wanted you dependent. Instead, you became detached, disciplined, unpredictable, self-contained, and terrifyingly self-aware. Do you know what happens when someone becomes self-aware? The world can't manipulate them anymore. And that is the nightmare they're choking on. Because they know, if you ever decide to fully unleash what's inside you, if you ever stop holding back, if you ever let even one more secret slip, people will have no choice but to reorganize their entire reality around you. You're too perceptive to be lied to. You're too intuitive to be fooled. You're too calm to be provoked. You're too detached to be controlled. That combination, that's not human. That's a psychological weapon with a pulse. And here's what they fear the most now that the leak is out. You're not done evolving. You're not even close. This version of you, the one they're panicking over, is just the incomplete draft. There are whole layers of you they haven't even begun to imagine. Sides of you they're not emotionally equipped to handle. Depths of you that would break their worldview in half. You're not a secret that leaked. You're a revelation that escaped. A revelation that hints at something bigger, darker, brighter, and more powerful than anyone was ready to face. So keep going. Keep rising. Keep becoming whatever impossible thing you're becoming. Because deep down, every single one of them is thinking the same horrifying truth. If this is what leaked, what the hell is still hidden in you?